Do you remember last year when Modern Warfare 2 dropped without a stats page? Well, what if I told you that in Modern Warfare 3 it is exactly the same? We are essentially playing a game with no stats system because stats are totally meaningless. Now let me ask you a simple question. What is your KD, your kill-death ratio? This is a question that millions of Call of Duty players have asked each other for years because it is the one metric that can prove whether you are good at COD or whether you are bad at COD. And not only that, but for years we were able to gauge exactly how good our peers were by this exact number. Now look, over the years there have been a few things that have skewed the KD metric, like Black Ops 4 basically counting every assist as a kill for one. But there is one thing that has made stats completely meaningless more than anything we have ever experienced in Call of Duty, and you've guessed it, it's skill-based matchmaking. Now, the reason I bring this up is because I've been talking to a few people in real life, like people I work with, friends, family, people who play Call of Duty casually, and I asked them this question because I find it really interesting. I say, what's your kill-death ratio? Now, full transparency here, all the way back in Black Ops 2, I had a 2.3 KD, and the past 4 or 5 years, I've been sitting somewhere between a 1.2 and a 1.5 kill-death ratio, with the exception of Modern Warfare 3, where, for some reason, I'm sitting at a 1.1 KD. Now, I could just chalk this up to the fact that I've had a baby, my hair's going grey, and I'm 30 years old, which is pretty much like 97 in gamer years. But also, I'd like to point out that I've been playing with people who have like a 1.3 kill-death ratio. And when I join games in a party with these specific people, I'm going like triple, quadruple positive, whilst they're barely breaking even. And the reason for this is skill-based matchmaking. Now, we are at a point in Call of Duty where not one single metric, not one statistic in this game means a damn thing, because in order to understand someone's kill-death ratio, you need to be able to take it into the context of the matches that they are actually playing. For example, if you've been playing Ground War or War Mode where there is very light skill-based matchmaking, this is going to skew your statistics very heavily in favor of positive. Similarly, if like me, you have played 95% of your matches in Modern Warfare 3 as a lonely solo player, well, chances are you're getting pushed closer and closer to a 1KD, which is, after all, the main purpose of the matchmaking system that we have. The reason for this is that most people who play Call of Duty, the casual player base, aren't exactly the best in the world. But that doesn't change the fact that these casual players understand the value given to you by your kill-death ratio. That means if they're sitting at a 0.6 KD, a 0.7 KD, they're going to get really frustrated, they're going to get embarrassed to tell people what their kill-death ratio is, and as a result, they'll quit the game. So why not implement a system that gives everyone exactly the same kill-death ratio? And not only that, by doing this, you're bumping these casual players up to that 1 KD, and then the people who are sitting above that, because they're also getting matched against people with a similar skill level to them, they're getting pushed back down to a 1 KD. So all this means is that you could 1v1 someone and go 30-0. You could drop a nuke on someone and they could have a KD exactly the same as yours. Before you have a 1v1 with this person, they might fully believe that they are as good at Call of Duty as you. And similarly, you might fully believe that you're as good as Call of Duty as someone else because you have compared your stats. When in reality, there is no way to physically, tangibly measure how good you are at Call of Duty. Now, one thing that I feel like we should talk about is why kill-death ratios were so important in the past. In every other game, your kill-death ratio is just a metric that they show you that you can look at from time to time. But in Call of Duty, a kill-death ratio means the world. Kill-death ratios in COD are the most important statistic to the majority of the player base. Way more than win-loss ratio, even more than like accuracy. KD is what we care about. And as a community, this is quite often the butt of the joke for people who don't play Call of Duty. And the reason for this is because during the rise of Call of Duty, during the like late 2000s, early 2010s, that era, I'm talking Modern Warfare, Modern Warfare 2, World at War, etc. The main focus of the game was to get as many kills as possible for the least amount of deaths. This was because the matchmaking system that we always used to have was very, very casual, and majoritively it was connection based. This meant that every match you got into was representative of like a cross section of the player base. You'd have 1 or 2 players at the top of the leaderboard, 3 or 4 in the middle, and then 1 or 2 at the bottom. What this essentially means is if you have a high kill death ratio, that means that over the course of like 100 different matches, you are consistently ranking amongst the top 2 or 3 of the leaderboard. And because these matches were a representative of the community as a whole, that meant that the KD held real value, because it meant that you didn't just have one lucky game where you went 30-0, it meant that you could perform and get high kill games for low deaths on a consistent basis, essentially meaning that you were good at Call of Duty. Similarly, we used to be able to track our kill death ratio. I remember when COD 4 came out and I was sat at 1.2 KD, and so I grinded and grinded. Every day I'd get home from school, I'd unplug my bloody family's broadband from the dial-up, I'd plug it into the back of my Xbox, and I'd be focused on getting that 1.3 KD, because I knew that I could only hit a 1.3 KD if I was actively getting getting better. And this was a way because we don't have ranks in Call of Duty that show us our skill level. Even with Prestige mode in Call of Duties of years gone, the ranks only meant that you had spent time on the game. Any little Timmy could reach Master Prestige if they spent enough time doing it, whereas your kill-death ratio was something sacred, something that you could actually show your friends and be proud of, but more importantly, something that you could work towards changing. Right now in Modern Warfare 3, I was hovering between a 1.05 and a 1.06 for the first 4 days. And then on day 5, I started playing with my younger brother and his friend. And because of this, I was getting into matches that made the game basically feel like a completely different game to what I've been playing. And as a result, I managed to go up to a 1.12 KD, a 1.15 KD at one point. And I'm sure that if I continue playing with only these people, my KD will continue to rise. This is not representative of me getting better at the game. This is not representative of me improving as a player. This literally just shows that I am being given easier lobbies, and as a result, I am able to perform better. There is no victory in this. There is no way of looking at these statistics and tracking my progress. And the argument I get from a lot of people who are pro SBMM is the fact that they don't want to be stomped on. They want to be able to just play a game and play it casually and not have to worry about people bunny hopping, drop shotting, and slide cancelling. But at the end of the day, they still think that they're as trash as the day that they bought the game, and they very well may be. But there's no way of them being able to check that they've got any better. Skill-based matchmaking is being touted as something that protects casuals and gives them a much fairer experience, a better experience at playing the game. But I would argue that even the lowest skill player is being robbed of the opportunity to improve and see that improvement in these games. And I think this takes away one of the fundamental things that has made Call of Duty fun for years and years gone by. But look, skill-based matchmaking goes so much deeper than this, and in a video I made yesterday, I explained why I think that the games might actually be rigged on a deeper level, so make sure you check that out. I'm Joel. Peace.